Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you real plain tonight. There are some things, some habits that will absolutely destroy your value in a man's eyes. And I ain't talking about your salary, your waistline, or how many followers you got on Instagram. I'm talking about the energy you bring, the mindset, the way you carry yourself when nobody's watching. That's what makes a man look at you and say, she's the one, or walk away and never call again. Let me tell y'all something real important, and I need you to lean in close on this one because it's going to hit different when it's said plain. If you don't know your worth, you give a man permission to treat you any kind of way. And the crazy part is he might not even be a bad man. He might not be a liar. He might not be a cheater. He might not be disrespectful on purpose. But if you walk into his life acting like you ain't worth a dime, he gonna treat you like you came off the clearance rack. Not because he hates you, not because he's evil, but because you told him with your behavior that that's all you expect. See, value ain't in your hair, your heels, or how fine your body is. Value is in the way you carry yourself. Value is in what you do not tolerate. A woman who knows her worth, she got a different walk. She got a different energy. She ain't out here begging for time, begging for attention, trying to prove herself to somebody who can't even spell commitment. She's not auditioning to be chosen. She's already chosen herself. And when a man sees that, he either rises to meet her standard or he walks away because he knows he can't. But a woman who doesn't know her value, she out here giving girlfriend privileges to somebody that ain't even acting like a friend. She's giving time, body, energy, peace, and loyalty to a man that ain't invested nothing but words, just words, a hey, beautiful text, and she out here rearranging her whole life. That's not value, baby. That's discount behavior. And here's the thing. Once a man realizes he can get everything from you with little to no effort, he stops trying. Period. Ladies, listen. When you lower your standard to keep a man, you ain't keeping him. You losing yourself. You're teaching him that you ain't the prize. You're teaching him that your presence ain't special. You're showing him that your peace, your body, your loyalty, your time, it all comes cheap. And once he sees that he ain't going to upgrade his behavior, he's going to downgrade his respect. I've seen women bend over backwards just to keep a man who ain't moved an inch. Doing everything, saying yes to everything, canceling plans with their friends, ignoring red flags, even accepting disrespect, all because they're afraid to lose him. But here's the truth. If you got to sacrifice your worth to keep him, you already lost. Because love without respect is not love. It's control. And when you don't value yourself, you become easy to control. You want to know how a man knows your worth? It's in what you require. If you require effort, consistency, honesty, and peace, he knows he's got to show up right. But if all he's got to do is be available, say a few sweet things, show up late and leave early, you ain't showing him worth. You showing him how little you believe you deserve. And I know some of y'all heard people say, well, maybe he'll change. No, people don't change because you're good to them. They change because they want to be good for you. And they can only want that if you show them you're valuable enough to deserve it. If you walk like you ain't worth nothing, don't be surprised when a man treats you like nothing. I'm telling you today, set the price, know your value, because if you don't, the world will put you on discount, and baby, you were never meant to be sold cheap. Let me break this down for you in a way that's real clear. You can take the strongest, most confident man in the world, the kind of man who walks with his chest out and his head high, and if he comes home to a woman who constantly criticizes him, he'll start to shrink. Not because he's weak, but because no man can thrive in an environment where he's always being torn down. That's real talk. A lot of women don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're just being honest or they're trying to help him do better. But when all he hears from you is what he ain't doing right, what he should be doing, how he always falls short, you're not building him up. You might be speaking from frustration or hurt, but to him, it sounds like disrespect. And let me be clear. This ain't about never speaking your mind. This ain't about biting your tongue or pretending everything's perfect. No. But there's a difference between communicating and criticizing. A man can hear you when you come to him with love, when you talk to him like he's your partner, not your project. But when you come at him like you the coach and he's on the bench, eventually he's going to stop playing the game altogether. See, in the beginning, he was probably proud to show up for you. He was trying to impress you, make you laugh, take you out, do all them little things, because admiration is a powerful fuel for a man. When a woman admires her man, he feels like he can move mountains. But when that admiration turns into correction, complaint, and criticism, that fuel runs out. And when the fuel runs out, he stops moving. Men are simple in this way. We move toward peace. We move toward appreciation. We move toward the person who makes us feel like we're winning. If every time he opens his mouth, you got a correction. If every decision he makes gets second guess. If every effort he puts in gets met with, well, why didn't you do it this way? Then what you're telling him is you're not enough. And even the best man can only hear that so many times before he shuts down. I've talked to men, good men, who were in love with amazing women, but somewhere along the way, they went from being lovers to being targets. Everything became a problem. Everything became a fight. And that man, instead of running home after work, started sitting in the car for 30 minutes just to build up the strength to walk through the door. That ain't love. That's survival. And I know what some women are thinking. Well, I wouldn't be criticizing if he just do what he's supposed to do. But let me tell you something. Nagging never inspired a man to level up. Encouragement does. Respect does. Peace does. If all he hears from you is what's wrong, he won't try to fix it. He'll try to escape it. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. You can say the right thing the wrong way, and it'll still land like an insult. Delivery matters. Timing matters. Tone matters. If you want your man to grow, water him. Don't chop him down. Men don't avoid women they love. They avoid women who make them feel like failures. And the sad part is, sometimes the woman he's avoiding is the same one he used to dream about, the one he used to chase. But he got tired of feeling like nothing he did was enough. So he stopped trying. And once a man stops trying emotionally, he's already gone. You want your man to hear you? Build a space where he feels safe to listen. A man who feels respected will give you the world. A man who feels criticized will shut the door and lock it from the inside. Let me go and tell y'all something that might sting a little, but it's coming from a place of truth and love. When you make yourself too available to a man, when you're always there, always ready, always waiting, it don't make him love you more. It don't make him appreciate you more. 9 times out of 10, it makes him take you for granted. Because see, when something is always within reach, it loses its mystery. And when a man no longer has to work for your time or your attention, he stops valuing it. I know some women were raised to believe that showing up all the time, being ready at the drop of a hat, answering every text immediately, clearing your schedule for him, that it proves you are a good woman, that it shows loyalty and devotion. But let me tell you this, loyalty without boundaries isn't loyalty. It's desperation wearing a pretty face. When a man first meets you, he's watching how you move. He's watching how you prioritize your time. He's watching if you've got a life that fulfills you outside of him. And if he sees that the moment he calls, you drop everything just to be next to him, he ain't thinking, wow, she must really like me. He's thinking, oh, she ain't got nothing else going on. Now, I know that sounds cold, but I'm just telling you how a lot of men interpret that. And the minute he starts seeing you as always available, you lose a little piece of the power of your presence, the power of your time. Let me break it down further. Men respect what they earn. If you give a man everything up front, your time, your energy, your body, your emotional support, without requiring him to invest anything, he doesn't see it as a gift. He sees it as standard. He sees it as expected. And you'll find yourself giving and giving, hoping that one day he'll see your value. But in his mind, you already showed him what you're willing to settle for. When you're overly available, you kill the chase. Now, I know some women hear that word chase and they get uncomfortable. They say, I'm not trying to play games. Baby, this ain't about playing games. This is about understanding human nature. Men are wired to pursue. It's not about manipulation. It's about maintaining your self-respect and your rhythm in life. When you have goals, responsibilities, passions, things that fill your day and feed your soul, you don't have to pretend to be unavailable. You actually are busy. You actually are fulfilled. And when a man sees that, he has to earn a spot in your world. You should never be so available that he forgets you've got a whole life before he even showed up. You should never be so ready that he stops putting in effort. Because let me tell you, when a man really wants you, he's going to make time, he's going to plan, he's going to show up. But when you always beat him to it, when you never make him wait, when you never say, I'm tied up right now, but let's try another day, you rob him of the chance to show initiative. You take away his chance to pursue, and when that pursuit dies, so does his excitement. I've seen too many women confuse consistency with availability. You can be consistent without being at his beck and call. You can be loving without being all-consuming. You can be present without being predictable. Leave a little room for him to miss you. Leave a little space for him to wonder what you're up to. Not because you're trying to play hard to get, but because your life is rich and beautiful all by itself. A woman who knows her value isn't afraid to say, I'd love to see you, but I've got something going on right now. A woman who knows her value isn't waiting around for a text. She's out there building, growing, laughing, living. And when a man sees that, when he realizes you're not just sitting around hoping he picks you, that's when he starts stepping up. That's when he starts valuing your time because you showed him how much it's worth. Let me tell you something I've seen time and time again, and I need you to catch this with both hands. Drama might get a man to look your way, but it sure won't make him stay. It might stir things up, get some emotions running, even create a little fire. But that fire don't last. It burns hot, then it burns out. What keeps a man coming home? What makes a man stay? It's peace, pure and simple. That quiet, steady, grown woman kind of peace. See, some people think drama means passion. They think if there's not yelling, tension, some back and forth, then the relationship's boring. They confuse chaos with chemistry. But real grown men who are building something, working on their future, trying to keep their mind and spirit right, they don't want chaos in their relationship. They already got enough stress coming from the world, the job, the pressure of being a man. They're not looking to come home and fight another war. They're looking for rest, for peace, for somebody who calms the storm, not adds to it. I've seen women stir up drama just to feel noticed. They pick fights to get attention. They bring up old stuff to spark emotion. They test their man constantly just to feel some sort of control. But that kind of behavior over time wears a man down. It don't build intimacy. It builds resentment. It don't keep the connection alive. It chokes the life out of it, because a man can't thrive where he always feels like he's walking on eggshells, where everything he says turns into an argument, where silence becomes punishment and peace becomes rare. Let me be real. Some women don't even realize they're addicted to drama. They've been through so many toxic situations that they don't know how to function in a healthy one. When a man is kind and calm, they think he's boring. When there's no jealousy or games, they think something's missing. But what's missing is the dysfunction. And instead of healing from it, they recreate it. Then they wonder why the good men leave. You want a man to respect you, to value you, to build with you, bring him peace. That doesn't mean be silent. That doesn't mean suppress your feelings or never disagree. Peace isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about how you handle it. You can speak your truth with grace. You can set boundaries with love. You can express disappointment without destroying his spirit. A peaceful woman ain't passive. She's powerful because she knows how to manage her emotions without making everything an explosion. She knows when to speak and when to pause. She knows how to pick her battles. And more importantly, which ones ain't worth fighting. That's the kind of woman who earns devotion. Because when a man finds peace in a woman, he protects her. He prioritizes her. He commits to her. Let me tell you something I know from experience. The woman who knows how to keep her cool in chaos, that woman is unforgettable. When she walks into a room, she don't have to raise her voice to be heard. Her energy speaks before she does. A peaceful woman creates a space that feels safe, and a man will give everything to protect that space. Drama might make a man text you back. It might make him jealous. It might keep the fire going for a minute. But peace makes him plan his future with you. Peace makes him think twice before losing you. Peace makes him proud to call you his. Every man has to deal with the world outside. But when he finds peace in a woman, that's the kind of love he don't walk away from. Let me break this one down plain and simple. The moment you start trying to prove your worth to a man, you've already placed yourself in a losing position. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but I got to keep it real with you. Because when a woman truly knows her value, she doesn't audition, she doesn't chase, she doesn't bend herself into a shape that's more pleasing. She stands firm in who she is. But when a woman starts doing the most just to convince a man she's good enough, she don't look confident. She looks insecure. See, we live in a time where too many women believe they have to do something to be worthy of love. They think if they cook more, support harder, love louder, shrink smaller, show more skin, or show less attitude, then maybe the man will see their worth. But let me tell you something. Your worth was never supposed to be proven. It was supposed to be recognized. A man who sees you clearly don't need a PowerPoint presentation. He don't need you to jump through hoops. He just needs you to be who you are. And if he's the right man, he'll respect it. Now, when you fall into this trap of proving yourself, you start accepting less than you deserve. You start letting things slide that don't sit right with your spirit. You start tolerating disrespect, silence, inconsistency, all in the name of holding him down or being patient. But what you're really doing is telling him, I don't believe I'm enough unless you say so. And that is dangerous. Because a man will treat you exactly how you treat you. Trying to prove yourself is exhausting. It's like being on a treadmill that never stops. You keep trying harder and harder, answering every call, forgiving every excuse, smiling through disrespect, clapping for bare minimum efforts. And the more you give, the less you get. Why? Because when a man sees you doing everything just to earn his loves, he stops seeing you as valuable. He sees you as available. And there's a difference. Valuable things are not accessible to everybody. They don't beg. They don't explain their worth. They're rare. And because they're rare, people treat them with care. Let me give it to you straight. If a man really wants you, he'll show you. You won't have to beg. You won't have to chase. You won't have to convince him. He'll show up. He'll be consistent. He'll make the effort. But if you're constantly the one chasing, constantly the one adjusting, constantly trying to be more or better just to keep his attention, then you've already told him he's the prize, and baby, he's not. A man's respect starts where your self-respect begins. If you walk into the relationship saying, this is who I am and this is what I require, the right man will rise to the occasion. But if you walk in saying, pick me, choose me, I'll be whatever you need, then all you've done is hand him the steering wheel and sat in the back seat of your own life. There's nothing more attractive to a man than a woman who knows she doesn't have to beg to be chosen. That woman who smiles, lives fully, loves herself deeply, and doesn't need to compete. She stands out because confidence is quiet. It don't scream. It don't perform. It just is. And when a man sees a woman who already believes she's worthy, he either steps up or steps off, and either way, you win. Remember, baby, being valuable isn't about what you do. It's about who you are. You don't have to earn love. You just have to believe you deserve it. Let me know if you'd like me to revisit any of the keynotes or help stitch these into one full speech in Steve Harvey's signature flow. Let me start by telling you something many women don't want to hear but need to. If you keep ignoring your own needs just to please a man, you're digging a hole for yourself, and it's a deep one. You're handing over your power piece by piece until there's nothing left but a shadow of the woman you used to be. And you might not even realize it's happening because it often starts small. A little compromise here, a small sacrifice there. But over time, those little things add up to a mountain of resentment, loss of identity, and a self-respect that's worn thin like an old pair of shoes. See, pleasing a man ain't the problem in itself. I'm not saying you shouldn't care about his feelings or his needs, but when your whole world spins around keeping him happy, when you stop listening to what you want, when you stop taking care of your dreams, your emotions, your boundaries, that's when you start losing your value. And here's the hard truth. A man can't respect a woman who doesn't respect herself. I've seen it too many times. A woman so busy trying to make him comfortable, so focused on being the perfect girlfriend or wife, she forgets who she is outside of him. She stops saying no when she needs to. She cancels plans with her friends just to be available. She hides parts of herself to avoid conflict. And all that self-sacrifice, instead of making him love her more, often makes him take her for granted. Because when you're always giving, always bending, always available, it becomes expected. It ain't special anymore. And let me be clear, this ain't about selfishness. Taking care of yourself ain't selfish. It's necessary. It's the foundation for any healthy relationship. How can you love somebody else fully if you don't love yourself first? How can you ask a man to cherish you if you won't even cherish yourself? When you put your own needs last, you send a message loud and clear, not just to him, but to yourself, that your happiness is less important than his approval. And that message will destroy your sense of worth faster than anything else. A man wants to be with a woman who knows what she wants, who has standards, who values herself enough to say, this is what I need, and I'm not willing to settle for less. That woman ain't afraid to put her foot down, to walk away if she's disrespected, or to say no if something doesn't feel right. She understands that a relationship is a two-way street, not a one-sided performance. But when you ignore your own needs to keep him happy, you start to lose your voice. You stop trusting your gut. You start doubting your own feelings. And once that happens, you become a woman who's easy to overlook, easy to dismiss, easy to walk all over. And that's the fastest way to kill any man's respect for you. Look, I'm not telling you to stop loving or stop giving. Love is about giving, no doubt. But love is also about balance. Love is about respect. Respect for yourself and respect for the other person. If you keep giving without getting, if you keep pleasing without being pleased, it turns into a dangerous cycle of depletion, and that's not love. That's exhaustion disguised as devotion. When a man sees that you love yourself, that you take care of your mind, body, and soul, that you have boundaries and standards, he respects you, because respect starts with respect for yourself. When you put your needs first, not to be selfish, but to be whole, you bring your full self to the relationship. And that full self is the woman every man wants, not just because of how she looks or what she does, but because of who she is. You deserve a love where you don't have to hide or sacrifice your identity. You deserve a man who sees your needs and meets you halfway. You deserve a relationship where your happiness matters just as much as his. And that starts with you putting your own needs first, sometimes standing tall and saying, I am worth it.